Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome once again to another episode of CasualCraft. We're back here in the pits of my bedroom in Newcastle once again for another game of StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm. And in today's game we're here on Whirlwind LE. And here in the top left-hand corner we've got the Grandmaster player, Pix, who actually submitted this game to cast it, which is where I picked this up from on Reddit. And meanwhile in the bottom right-hand corner we have the blue Zerg player from Team Evil Geniuses, it's Suppy. Yeah, looking blue today on Whirlwind. Now we're in cross positions, obviously, so this is nice long distance there in the middle from to start off with, and we should be seeing something interesting out these two Grandmaster League players today here on Whirlwind LE. Now this is the 13th cast I think I've done now, and I'm getting everything together gradually. It's taken its time, but it's been slow in places. Now at the start here out of Suppy, we're seeing an extractor trick straight away. This is something I do when I forget my Overlord, but I think he might have something slightly more up his sleeve than mere overlordery. Although we will have to wait and see what exactly Suppy does here. Now Pix, meanwhile, at the top hand corner of the map, he's just putting down his stuff, getting on with things. I'd imagine we'll see. I don't think we'll see too much of an early pressure out here in this game. Just knowing, well, I'm not sure. It's difficult to really call, obviously, at this stage. But I've just got a feeling that I don't think that Pix would play. I'm not expecting like a proxy Rax or anything like that. We've certainly not seen any SCVs run out across the map to scout or anything like that. Meanwhile, Suppy's actually scouting as if it's not cross position, which I'm pretty sure these maps are now, but perhaps it isn't, perhaps it isn't. I mean, that sort of thing often does discourage early pressure, such as like 2 Racks and that sort of thing, because often you need to get them down before you've scouted your opponent's base, and if you've got to jump around all 4 corners of the map, such as you do in this map, to find out where your opponent would be, assuming that cross positions weren't on, then yeah, it'd be a nightmare because you can end up putting your barracks down in absolutely the wrong corner of the map. And I've seen players before in newbie lower league games and things just rush the wrong bases, basically just not scout a base properly, rush in with all their troops and find absolutely nothing there. Meanwhile, I've seen very basic normal stuff out of Suppy here. We saw Hatch first, followed by the spawning pool come down here in his main. Nothing out of the ordinary there. I'm not really sure what the extractor trick was about. Some people like to do it, some people don't. However, out of Pix here, we're going to be seeing command centre down really early on with the barracks just behind that as well. I'm actually not sure what came down first there. They're about the same moment actually, for both buildings there. Today's drink's coffee, straight up coffee from Taylors of Harrogate. It's all good. I'm not a caffeine addict. I just caffeine passionate, I guess, might be the phrase for it. Here as Pix does move out to the front of his base with his little red SCV here. Now we'll see what he's going to do here. This is, what's going to be a bunker there at the front? Oh, he's moved it slightly forward there after the cancel. So yes, we're seeing a bunker up here at the front for Pix, and this should be basically all very defensive. He's going to sit down, get two bases macroed up, and start putting out some forces ready to deal with whatever Suppy might be throwing at him, which right now isn't very much, as Suppy gets his first few sets of lings out. He's got a queen down, well, coming out in each base soon, and these first sets of lings are really just for scouting purposes. Now, the Overlord for Suppy is heading over at the top of the map here. To see what Pix might be up to. I'm a little bit surprised. I could have sworn these are cross positions. I'm going to have to double check to see if ladder is cross position. I'm fairly certain they changed it to be that, unless I'm just misinterpreting the ever running arguments on Reddit for whether or not the maps for whether Blizzard can make the maps cross position or not. And this Zerg Scout isn't actually going to be getting to the front here at all for Suppy. The bunker's completely in the way for that, with 2 Marines sat there quite comfortably inside it. As Suppy's forced to retreat there. Now he's obviously ahead on supply. I don't imagine this should really affect too much. Yeah, we've got a few more drones here out of Suppy, which is all fairly standard stuff. Because basically Zergs can get drones out quicker than the other races can, because they can make several at once. Meanwhile, of course, Pix is getting his first few mules down. We're seeing his economy take off there as well, of course. And yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary here. We've got 2 queens down out of at the front here for Suppy, and 2 more in his bases, so he's going for a 4 queen build. This is again very popular, very defensive Zerg play, to be honest, as he does take his 3rd base as well here, and it does look like we're seeing a relatively longer macro game here out of the players. Meanwhile, now Suppy's actually gone for his Roach Warren now in his 2nd base, as he does pull, I think it's like 4 extractors, no, just the 2 extractors, because that seems like quite a lot of gases out for Suppy there for such an early state of the game. And I'd imagine he's just going to pull up some gas and start getting some roaches out. You don't really need more than 2 gases at this point of the game for a Zerg player, unless you're really starting to churn out the 3 base roach push. or something of the sort. Meanwhile, we've seen speed come down nice and early there for Suppy. Not even early at all. It's 7-minute speed. It's actually quite late, to be honest. But I guess with this relatively late gas build coming out here, he's going to have to catch up in that sort of respect. But it does mean that he should have a better economy. He will have had more drones mining for much longer as he moves up the front now with these two Evo chambers. Meanwhile, we've seen the Hellions scout all over the map here for picks, having a good look around, making absolutely sure that there isn't anything crazy going on as he does move into the Banshee play here. Now this was a 1-1-1 build, I believe. I didn't see any additional barracks down. No, he did 1-1-1. He's getting his third command centre down behind that. So he's going straight for the Cloak here on Banshees. Now this is interesting because Cloak has had a recent price reduction for the Banshees there. I think it's down to 100 now rather than 200, which makes it a lot cheaper to get out earlier in the game and makes Banshees a much more viable option. So I think we'll be seeing some Banshee harass here out of picks as his first Banshee does now complete, and the second one should be on his way over before too long. Meanwhile, Overlord's have been chasing out the main base of picks here as the Hellions gather out the front of his opponent's base, who obviously was fighting those off quite comfortably before with those queens. Now some roaches out, they really shouldn't present too much of an issue as long as they can keep up with them on the creep here. Now Pix is getting some really early creep denial in here. I do like this, as if you can really keep the Zerg player back, it just cuts their manoeuvrability so much, and it slows down their sort of surprise attacks and pushes by such a considerable margin that it means that basically the Zerg player can't get to his opponent's base as quickly as he needs to make the sort of push that would win in the game, if that makes sense. It's surprising actually. I think a lot of people underrate clearing out the creep tuners early on. If you can get forward and just keep him backwards in his base, then it means that there isn't really anything for the Zerg players to push out on, and Zerg players really do need to be engaging on their on the creep here now, as the Banshee for picks is in the third base now of Suppy. This queen will be falling under that before the Spore Crawler can finish up, so unfortunately we're not actually going to be able to see this Banshee dying here, which is a shame. Meanwhile, we've got 5 Hellions moving in behind this, and there's quite a lot of drones here for Suppy here, as Pix is moving in really successfully with this little push here. Now, I imagine the Hellions will be cleaned up by these roaches if they can't get caught out, but it's not without taking down a hell of a lot of drones first, and 20 workers killed straight away there for Pix, 23 now as the second Banshee turns up as well, and this pressure is actually incredibly strong here for Suppy here. As the third base for Pix here, as the third base of Suppy really is just falling straight up. Meanwhile, the Queen is out now, so this should actually start dealing with the Banshees. We're going to pull that Banshee out the way. Yeah, there we go. We get out the way. Chill out, relax. It's only CasualCraft. Meanwhile, we're seeing a massive counter attack from Suppy here as he pushes up into the third base here with Pix here with the large amount of lings for a run by here. This should kill off a few SCVs. Should do pretty well here. There's not really anything here much to defend it. However, the SCVs should be able to pull in behind this wall of the Widow Mines here, and really there shouldn't be too much more pressure there for the Zerg player. Suppy here has he just managed to force Pix to lift up his base there, and meanwhile it has a whole bunch of creep gone down underneath that as well. So that's really annoying there for Pix, as Suppy now will be pulling his forces back, because obviously they can't be shooting up at the Banshees there, that are quite happy to sit above anything that can't shoot up and just shoot the crap out of it. Meanwhile, we're seeing a Centrifugal Hooks upgrade come out here for our Zerg player Suppy here, so it looks like we're getting out some speed banelings, we're getting a burrow as well. I'd imagine that'll be married with tunneling claws for the roaches there. These are all very popular upgrades at the moment, really, among Zergs. Like everyone loves bling bling, and roaches with the tunneling claws upgrade at the moment they've come back quite a bit, mostly against Protoss, really, it seems, as they obviously can tunnel underneath the force fields, which is something that went out of fashion for a while. But I've seen quite a lot more of that now. I think it's partially due because you get the earlier burrow out, even though we do actually have a layer out now already for Pix here now, as the Overseer is actually going to be able to completely help this Queen clear up the first of those 2 Banshees, and the second one will be able to escape. Unfortunately there for Suppy now. Meanwhile, his third base is back up and running full. He's getting a 4th out now without very little problem. Meanwhile, also spreading extra creep down at the 4th base of Pix, which is just infuriating as a Terran player to have to deal with all the time, just waiting for that creep to rescind. Meanwhile, of course, our Terran player here, Pix, will be getting up his extra upgrades there. He's getting combat shield down for his Marines now as well. Quite a late combat shield, but to be honest, he's been mixing in with sort of Hellions and Banshees. He hasn't really needed any of that early tech on his Marines, so it makes sense to get that a bit later, which I do like what he's doing. And we are pooling quite a lot of resources here for our Zerg player Suppy, so I imagine we should be getting, there's the extra macro hatch coming down now. That'll help him spend this extra money. Meanwhile, his spy is totally finished up. He'll be getting the air units out before long there, so we're seeing Ling Bane, Ling Muta basically very standard Zerg play, and to be honest, it's been really nice seeing this come back with a vengeance since the release of Heart of the Swarm, because obviously Mutas were really popular in the early Wings of Liberty days, but they sort of fell off a bit as they just kind of died, and it was very easy for Terrans to deal with them, to be honest. I mean, they were doing wrong, they were still excellent units, but like, compared to how you can play it now, where you sort of use them a little bit like Reapers, poking in, taking some damage, pulling out, and letting that ridiculously good health regen heal up your Mutas there. It's just very strong. Looks like we're going to be seeing a lot more Widowmine player here out of picks, though, as he is actually going for the Widowmine Burrow upgrade. Again, I can't really see a reason not to go Widowmines against Zerg, because frankly, the Zerg relies on mass units that are all very weak. So Widowmines are perfect because Widowmines do them huge AoE, they do quite a lot of instant damage, and it just goes through units like Mutas and Lings and all that kind of thing. They're very strong there for picks. That's obviously a really good thing to be doing. Meanwhile, we're seeing a push now coming out of Pick Series. He did push up into the third base here of Suppy. It does let Suppy be getting a really good start with his first set of Marines, although the second lot further down the ramp will be able to push further up again as the Banelings do pop in the front of that assault. Meanwhile, we're losing a Queen straight away here for Suppy, and as the engagement comes in here for Suppy, he's going to be moving forward, but obviously Picks will be pulling out now quite safely there. Not really losing too much. A few units picked off here and there, but nothing too drastic there for Picks in the way of terms of unit loss. So he's actually ahead on supply now, which is never a good position to be in as a Zerg player. Behind the supply is not very nice, as more and more units do stream across the map, and it does look like a lot of this attack will be getting cleared up, although the Widowmines should be getting some really nice hits off here at the end, unless we've got an Overseer in there, that should be clearing them nicely. We're not going to be seeing all those go down as the Marines stim forward here for Picks here now as he's coming in, and meanwhile both players behind that are doing odds and sods of map. We're seeing more vehicle upgrades actually coming out of Picks there, as the rest of his army does get cleared up by that massive amount of Banelings there, and it does look like Suppy will be quite comfortably pushing this attack out now as the Banelings got some really nice connections there for Suppy against this army of Picks here now, and as more and more Banelings are streaming in here for Suppy, we're not going to be seeing anything left here of Picks' army, as the last of his troops should really be turning around now and trying not to reinforce us any further, as this Mutable will be able to go through pretty much anything that Picks has to offer at this stage in this long stream of troops across the map, as some Marines are heading out still while others are heading directly back to their base there, as the Banelings do just eat over these little convicts here. Oh, poor guys. After all that training, straight into a Baneling. What a shame. What a shame. And it does look like Suppy isn't going to be taking it quite as easily as it looked like he might be taking that attack there, as he's now actually getting up his hive and making the transition into the third tier of tech there for the Zerg player. Pix now is walling off the front of his base here for his third. It looks like he's going to be taking some damage here from Suppy's Mutalisks, which actually aren't no, they're not really going to do too much. They're just taking out the turret there, pulling out for a second, waiting for the SCVs to return and going back in with a vengeance. So actually, with the amount of Widowmine hits there, the Mutas did take quite a high amount of damage, although I'm not sure if he lost too many there. There was certainly 3 or 4 went down, but with the amount of health regen you can get on these things, you can tank a Widowmine on Mutas before you have to get out, really. Meanwhile, we're seeing a few random run-bys of Zerglings, nothing too major in here at the middle of Pix's third base, as the Widowmines will probably be clearing up a lot of that run-bys, I'd imagine. There's not too much there. Well, actually, that looks like a busted Baneling wall there. Did I miss a Baneling bust? Damn! Well, never mind, it's all good. It's all good, can't be that exciting. As this is CasualCraft, the show of games, where we take it easy. As I sit here with my cup of coffee, as these Mutas are just going to be getting cleared up by these last few Marines here. I guess they weren't on part of the control group there, unfortunately, for Suppy, as he does lose those two. Meanwhile, we're not actually going to be seeing the fourth come down for Pix here as much as he'd like, while he does actually move out and try and clear up some of this creep spread once again. This is, again, really good. Like, Banelings are so good on creep, because they get so much more speed. It just doesn't allow you to split in the same way as you can do against off-creep Banelings. So, especially now that we've got the Baneling upgrade for speed, where they're all rolling in like little beach balls there. It's really important for Terrans to try and clear out this creep to stop the Zerg player from getting too far ahead in that respect, because the advantage you get is just so staggering. As the attack does come in now for Suppy, he's going to be clearing this up from all angles here, as the Terran army is getting absolutely obliterated. And once again, the Medivacs will be boosting out, although we'll be losing 2 or 3 of them to this huge Mutaball that's coming up now. We hit here nearly 24 Mutas, 23 Mutas in total there for Suppy now, as the last of these Medivacs will be falling. Their boost isn't enough to get them away from the nice high-speed Mutas that we've got now. I mean, the Mutas didn't really get any sort of buff there, if you're wondering what I mean by that. They got it was an acceleration buff, so they can catch up with things much more easily now than they used to, as well as the health upgrade. It's so good to see Mutas. They're one of my favourite units in the game. both to play with and to deal with, because you can very easily deal with mutas if you get a lot of air splash damage, like the Widow Mines and Thors, for example. There's loads of ways of dealing with mutas, and even like a Marine Ball will go through a bunch of mutas if you've got enough medivacs and stuff behind it. It can be really, really strong there. Meanwhile, we're seeing our Terran player actually stockpile a shit ton of gas here. I wonder if this is for something or whether he's just teching into the late game. I'd imagine he's just going for late game tech here, as he's actually. Frankly, he's only got 2 in each gas there, so he's actually trying to cut down the amount of gas. I think he might have overmined gas by mistake there, and now that he's really, really desperate for the minerals again, he's going to be pulling out of that as he does finish up his 3-3 upgrades in the next 100 seconds or so. So we should be seeing 3-3 units out in the next minute or so, next 2 minutes or so. For our Terran player picks here, as Suppy once again moves into the front of this base here. He's taking out the Widow, not really taking out the Widow Mines so much because the Overseer's disappeared now, although he is going to be just finishing off the front of this wall here, so it is really, really cleared up there for Suppy. It's going to be really, really difficult actually for Pix to deal with this at this stage, as he's very much on the back foot, I feel, here at this point of the game. I mean, he does have his 4th base up now, and it is, it's looking good, and he's got a lot of stockpiled gas, but he's still supply blocked, and like he's just generally struggling to get the same sort of force going on that Suppy is here. Although actually I really like this this drop now here in the 4th base, no, sorry, the 5th base of Suppy here, and although it will be getting cleared up quite quickly, I don't think we're going to lose the hatchery there. No, not quite. That's unfortunate there for Pix there. It would have been really nice if we could have taken that down, because that would have eaten up a lot of rebuilding time there for Suppy, who will just be getting a ton of spine crawlers and spore crawlers down to help deal with any further drops there on his creep there. Meanwhile, we're seeing a little drop up here in the 6th, 7th, far east position of the map here. That should be moving down soon onto the Suppy's base here, I would imagine would be the movement of choice here. Meanwhile, we're seeing Ultralisks come out now for Suppy. This is very, very good at pushing Terran armies back. If you get like a Terran army in a really strong like sieged up position, often Ultralisks can just help go through that, because they just tank so much damage that they can allow all your Zerglings and things to engage before all the tanks and that eat all that sort of thing up. Meanwhile, this Muta Ball is getting absolutely crazy big now for Suppy here, as he will be just clearing out these rocks here to help him. I guess to give him much wider it'll give him a much bigger angle to play with here if Pix does decide to move up here, as he's once again moving forward, clearing out bits and bobs here and there in the way of overlords and stuff. Just trying to keep Suppy on the back foot, although Suppy hasn't really been on the back foot for quite some time now, unfortunately, here for Pix. He really does need to be hopefully just trying to do little bits of damage here and there. I think a few random drops like in multiple bases at once would probably be the best way of getting this together, as the Zerg army relies on overwhelming so much that if you split it up in such a way that is required to defend that many drops, it would be splitting the army up like that allows your smaller attacks to get quite a lot of damage done without the Zerg force just overwhelming you before you can take anything down, as we saw in this base here where this hatchery didn't fall. Meanwhile, we're seeing more and more Widow Mines pour in here for Pix, as the Mutas do move on to this 4th base there. That will be forced to pull out, although it's not actually going to die. Meanwhile, we are going to be seeing the Mutalisk moving into the 2nd now, which is actually nearly mined out, so it's getting less and less of a valuable target. To be honest, really, you just need to be stopping him continuing to mine and hope that he bleeds himself dry by sending all these Marines in to die constantly over and over again to these Mutalisks here. Now, to be honest, I do really like Pix's play here. Suppy's a formidable player. Like, there's no doubt about it. So, like, the stuff he's been doing has been good. And another quick pause there. It's like he is trying. He's just struggling, and to be honest, he's done well not to be overwhelmed at this point, because like the number of Ultras we've got up here, and we had like a really big force of Ling Baneling out before, that's just had to be used over and over again to stop these assaults up here. It's actually been really quite strong from play from Pix there, which I do like, despite his massive gas over mining that he's got going on there. I can't think what to tech into other than like Thors and mass upgrades or something, although he probably has finished pretty much most of his upgrades by now. I haven't seen anything else much in the way coming out there. Let's just have a little look around, as we've got hundreds and hundreds of barracks now. We've got the last of the ground upgrades done, and the armory. He's not even really started his mech upgrades, so it does look like we'll be continuing to basically bio our way through this game here for Pix, which frankly I think is really effective as long as your splits are okay and you can deal with the Banelings. However, that's a really good set of hits they've had on those Mutas there. I'm kind of gutted I missed that again, because obviously the number of low health Mutas there got one more Widowmine hit and this lot would have been dead, and these would have melted to a ball of Marines. So I'd imagine these Mutas will be taking a little bit of a break now, as they as they just need to get away from the action for a bit to heal up, although these Marines have been stimmed into the floor, so they're going to melt very easily there. And that should defend the 6th base now for Suppy here, as his first main and third, I'd imagine. Third's getting mined out, but not entirely. First and second are both completely mined out. Meanwhile, we are seeing more and more bases come down once again here. This base has actually finally fallen there due to another little push in by Pix there. That was really effective, I guess. Obviously, the damage that he did earlier to that base as it was coming down was enough to leave it on low health to allow him to finish it off when he came back here. Although those fungal growths were excellent there from Suppy there, catching most of that army out red-handed. Really, that was really quite nice. It would have perhaps been a little bit better if it was further forward, but obviously it's not your choice where the positioning of your opponent's armies. So meanwhile, these ultras will be poking back and forward, just trying to clear up the units bit by bit here. As there's another drop now down in the third base here of Suppy here, and that's actually going to completely fall there. Although that's with the bases mostly mined out, it's not really too damaging in the way that really, when you think about it, we've got 4th, 5th and 6th bases up here for Suppy now. Meanwhile, of course, Pix is actually pushing this right back in here. I do quite like this play here now. He's taking out one base, he's taking out all the ultralisks here, and the rest of these investors will be falling now. This is an excellent push here out of Pix as the mutalisks do turn up. We'll be seeing who can clear this up quickest now. I think obviously the medivacs will be clearing out there, and those mutants will actually end up finishing off the rest of that ball there. Although if they are unlucky and take a couple of Widowmine hits, that wouldn't be so friendly there. As Pix has managed to get down another base now, we've got mass amount of command centers coming out here, so we're going to be seeing mule mining galore from this 5th base here of Pix, as he's fighting to stay even on supply. Although he's a little bit behind now as more and more ultralisks and infestors are spawning here for Suppy here. Now we're seeing fairly even numbers of workers killed. To be honest, this game is much more even than I might have been making out here for Pix, as he did feel like he was behind, but he's fought some hard-won victories to get back into this, as getting another assault here out of Suppy here is just going to take down this additional base, which is really unfortunate for Pix, because he was finally starting to make some ground back there. But this huge retaliation after completely destroying the assault of Pix here from Suppy is really doing a lot of damage, to be honest. Let's just face it. Actually, the series are going to make it out of there, which is that's unfortunate, really. It might have been nice to see the mutalisks continue to chase those, as I don't think there was much they could have really done with this army unless they engaged straight up, which they haven't really done there. And now, actually, while they will be taking the rest of that out, there's a lot more death there for Suppy's units than I would like to have seen, to be honest, as most of his army is actually going to fall, and the rest of this Marine Marauder force will be able to push through once again. We might be seeing some sort of retaliation appear towards these mutas as they're continuing to chase the SCVs round and round the map into this additional base of Pix here at the 12 o'clock position. Yeah, no, that looks like it's alright. It looks like the mutas are just going to get out of there, although with this massive Marine force chasing them over, they are going to have to watch their backs there for a second, as the last of the mutas for Suppy here will... No, they're not going to be falling, as it looks like instead of this Pix is actually just going to push straight into the 6th base of Suppy here, and yeah, this base is just going to fall straight up. There's nothing here Suppy can do here. There's just no forces here whatsoever. Didn't see this coming, unfortunately, and that base does completely fall there, and all these troops will be cleared up gradually as well. If Pix can just pick this lot up out of the way before the ultralisks arrive, that would be really useful. And we're losing more and more mutas here. Really now, it's really starting to fall apart in many aspects for Pix there. Although he's getting his army up again. Let's just have a look at the unit counts now. Obviously, Suppy's miles ahead on his drones, but that's because Pix is using mules instead for mining at this stage of the game. And we're seeing once again mutas, ultralisks, banelings, infestors, all very nice Zergy units, but the actual stuff that he's building is bugger all at this stage of the game, I'll be honest. There isn't really very much in the way of troops coming out here for Suppy at all now. As we just sort of watch as he continues to produce more and more Zerglings. And to be honest, looking at this composition, we've got a whole bunch of ultralisks, we've got some infestors underneath that. I think Ling Baneling, just to sort of provide more fodder on the ground, would be really useful here, just to provide the fodder and the DPS to clear up what the infestors can hold still. And meanwhile, obviously, the ultralisks are there just to tank so much damage, and they're really good against bio as well, because of the massive AoE they do. This army is an AoE killing force if we just look at what they're doing here now. Obviously, with Pix here at the top here, if we're looking back at his main base here, we're not really seeing too much in the way of advanced stuff coming out. We're getting vehicle and ship plating too out of him stuff, but it's mostly just going straight into units here at this stage of the game. It's a shame he hasn't managed to get another base up at the left-hand edge there, although that right-hand base is quite nice now, as Pix once again moves into the 5th base here of Suppy, and this hatchery will be falling. Not quite. That was saved there, just on 20 odd health. That's a bit of a shame there for Pix there. That would have been a really nice little victory for him here, and really help keep him in this game here, as Suppy is getting back ahead on supply once again here, as Pix does move out to clear out some creep, keep this well away from his current, I think it's his 5th base now. Yep, the 5th base along the top edge here at the 1 o'clock position here for Pix now. That's all very nice and tasty. Oh dear, I quite like these widow mines across the middle as well. What they'll do is if any creep tumors move into their vicinity, they should just target them down, I believe. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen widow mines hit creep tumors before. So that'd be a really good way of keeping the creep spread back. Although as Suppy is trying to push this up, we should be seeing Pix continue to play this out now as he just race ahead and supply once again as he builds Mass Marine Marauder back up again underneath the vision of these medivacs. And I mean. Not a thing against Terrans, but I do love how they can make this Marine Marauder ready back with Widow Mines. the 4 M's now. They can make it work all game long against this Zerg composition that we've got going on here. And I'll be honest, like this, it's been a really back and forth game. Definitely one of the more exciting games I've casted so far. To be honest, I've barely had time really to discuss what they're actually building for want of just talking about all the mental number of engagements that these two players have had going on here. Now, we are seeing the production slow for both players now as Pix has reached his maxed out army, so we should be seeing him moving out before very long. Here we go, starting to move out now towards Suppy's 6th base. Yeah, this is a 6th base, and then we've got a 7th up on the far side here for Suppy now, as once again Pix is moving up in to take his 5th, 6th-ish base, something like that. Another expansion there. Let's just have a quick look at the spending tab. No, that's not what I'm after. It is income. That's what I'm after. Yeah, so it's still relatively even out of both players. So not quite as much mineral income or gas income for Pix there, although he has been slowing down his gas income after that huge lead on gas that he took there earlier. Although interesting now, Suppy has caught up here. Is this engagement's just hugely spread out. We're just seeing little bits of forces picking each other off all over the place, but nothing really major coming out yet. As Suppy will be rounding on here, and if we can get the flank here on Pix here, that would be really nice. I think Suppy might need to split his army if he's going to pull that off, though, which he isn't going to be doing. He's just going to be pulling back, waiting, playing with little bits of Marines here in the middle of the map at the Zelnaga Tower, and once again gathering his forces. Now, it does look like he might be trying to go in around the back of this army of Pix here. If he does that, yep, into the extra base here. And now we're seeing total surrounds there on these initial Marines here of Pix, and Suppy's forces are going to be moving through, funneling most of the bio there, and loads of troops coming through there. That's yeah, that's looking really good there for Pix. I do like that. For Suppy there. As he did manage to completely outflank Pix's army there and just pull off loads of bits of it. As more fungals do go down and they're rather successfully dodged there for Suppy. Meanwhile, of course, we're seeing Pix just pulling what's left of his forces together now. He's trying not to lose too much, although he has actually raced ahead in economy now. This will be due to the mass mules that have just gone down at this additional base over here on the far left there. Let's see the Ultralisks gradually die one at a time, but we're not really seeing any of them actually fall here. That one's going to go. Yeah, it's another one down. As Suppy's forced once again to pull back under the weight of this Marine Marauder medivac as it just pushes on these units here as the infestors are gradually falling there as well. And it's really unfortunate there for Suppy in that respect, because those infestors are so difficult to replace. Despite his massive gas income, he really just needs to make sure he's got enough of minerals income to be able to support this many troops, as his infestors are falling here, which is, God, it's so unfortunate there for Suppy, because I thought he was ahead for so long in this game, as Pix is now pushing back on multiple prongs here, as it's coming in down to the 6th base here of Suppy, with more Marauders, so good at taking out those hatcheries, especially with the 3-3 upgrades. It just gets really strong. And yep, Suppy's going to GG out the game. Wow, well, I guess that's to do with the economic difficulties he was having there. It was really strong for Pix there. Like, it's essentially what I feel happened is that Suppy got ahead for a lot of the game. Pix is sort of, he just kept pressuring, and especially on this base here, coming up this ramp and just continually poking at this base. Suppy just lost so many units during the course of the game that Pix was really just taking the more value for money engagements, if that makes sense. So every time Pix poked up, yeah, he would lose some units, but Suppy would lose a lot more expensive units. And once the Mutalist ball had fallen, it was like, as it gradually got worn down over time, it was really difficult for Suppy to continue to push out there despite his base advantage. I mean, he did still have 2 mining bases, I believe, as the 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th bases of his are completely gone now. But with the income of Pix here, and it's difficult to believe. I do still feel that Suppy could have perhaps stayed in that. I mean, like, there is really only 1 mining base here for Pix, and it is quite a. I mean, yeah, Pix is all over him, but neither player has all that much at the moment. Neither of them are stockpiling much in the way of minerals here. And although Pix can mine a lot quicker from the single base that he's got with all those mass mule going on, Suppy does have the 2 mining bases, which I thought would give him an advantage. But I think with all these little sort of prongs of attack coming out of Pix here, just poking these bases constantly wearing them down, it's just way too much pressure for our EG player here to handle on Whirlwind. So yeah, well, it's been another good game. It's pretty chill cast today, to be honest. I've been just trying to talk about the actual game itself rather than builds and that, to be honest. But it's CasualCraft, what can I say? So, well, thanks once again for watching, everyone. Another great game. Like, comment, subscribe, anything like that. Always appreciated. I've been RedRipz, your Dreadlock caster, and GG, well played, both players. Thank you.